So there was a question that was asked on YouTube about versatility and what should you do? How do you approach being versatile in different genres of music, different styles? And using myself as an example, I wanted to be versatile in different styles. Now, what was so cool is that many of the drummers of my age, we grew up in a time where there was such a cross-section of music happening that I don't think it will ever happen that way again in the history of music. So we were coming out of doo-wop music and soul music and R&B and pop, and then all of a sudden came fusion and hip-hop and punk music, which, believe it or not, this is the 50th anniversary of punk music. So I wanted to be versatile because my goal was always to try to work. And there's no secret. Whatever you decide that you want to do, all you have to do is take the time to apply yourself and practice. Now, the advantages that you have now is you have so many different places you can go and access music, from YouTube to Spotify and so many others. Any music that you want to listen to. And when I was coming up, the way how I learned, I had a small Panasonic cassette player, and if I heard a song on the radio, I would just put it next to the radio and record as much of it as possible because I wanted to learn that groove. Or there was records that were in the house that my mother had, all the way back to 78 RPM records that I would just listen to because I wanted to learn the groove. And what I would do is I would record myself with my little cassette player. So I would play the song on the record player, and I would record myself of all these different genres of music. And then critiquing myself, I didn't realize at the time, but when you record yourself, you're actually teaching yourself ear training and production at the same time. Ear training comes from you listen to it and be very honest with yourself, not overly analytical where you think it's horrible, but you listen to it and go, okay, that part was good. That drum fill, let me practice that. Then you record yourself doing that drum fill. And each time you do it, you'll find yourself getting better at not only listening, but at playing that particular groove that you, or that drum fill that you wanted to learn. And when it comes to the versatility, if you put on a jazz record, you're playing, Elvin Jones, you're listening for the flow and the style of a Tony Williams or of a Buddy Rich or anybody who played jazz or whoever you like. But the purpose of it is to adapt from the masters. Now calls it stealing. And the truth is you are. You're stealing what they're doing and you're adapting it to what you do. One of my favorite drummers coming up for a long time was a guy named Robin Russell who used to play with New Birth. And then I discovered Billy Cobham, and Harvey Mason was a big, big influence, and then Steve Gadd. And what changed my life is when I found this guy named Dennis Chambers. I saw him playing with P-Funk All-Stars. I was actually the opening band with Evelyn Champagne King for part of the P-Funk All-Star tour. And Dennis was young. He was 19 years old, and he was blazing on drums. But I loved his quality and dynamics and control and his versatility. Him and I became friends. He sent me some of his tapes from his local band in the Baltimore, D.C. area. And I listened to those tapes until they just basically disintegrated. But if you want to become versatile, if you're excited about wanting to do different styles, as I said, there's no secret to this. All you have to do is just spend the time to practice. Record yourself. You have all of the tools that you need right now. You have on your phone, you have the ability to just put it on a stool or put it on a tripod and record yourself. So the tools have changed, but the technique and the value of becoming versatile hasn't. And it's never going to change. You just have to hone in on practicing. Okay? I think it's very important to be versatile. because when people call you for a gig, if you say, I know these different styles, then you can play the gig. So you're not putting yourself in one position. Now, you might want to specialize in just one particular style of music. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I just made a choice, and you or someone else can make the choice or not to decide to become versatile in different styles of music. And that's because my brother influenced me, and he just played so many different styles of music coming up in the house. So versatility is important. Is it needed and necessary? Not all the time, and not if that's your choice. Sometimes life is about choices. And when you make choices, you base those choices off of your environment or someone that's important to you or something that you want to do. But there's different reasons for why you make choices. The reason why I came to Drum Dog, it was a choice. And the choice was to be in a place where the people cared about what you see and what you hear. Drum Dog pays a lot of attention to making sure that you are connected with your drums and with who you are. One of the things that are so important about being a drummer is getting out of your own way. I find that when I teach classes, I find that when I teach individuals, many times the questions that are asked of me is, how do I get out of my own way? How do I get to do things because I just feel like I can't? Now, first and foremost, can't is one of the most dangerous four-letter words in the English language. And what I love about Drum Dog is that there's no can't ability here. Everything is positive. Everything is about moving forward and trying to make sure that you are connected to you and connected to your drums, which means that you're connected to the world around you. It's not just all about drums. It's all about who you are. And once you understand who you are, you will be able to play your drums a lot better. I've worked with drummers who were very nervous, and they would get on stage and they would just fall apart. And that level of anxiety caused them to not want to play. But in working with them and talking to them, I made them understand that every performance is a one-time deal. And even if you make a mistake, there's another chance for you to get it right. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every single show that I played, I was 100% perfect, because that would be a bold-faced lie. People make mistakes. It's a natural part of being a human being. You have to accept that in your growth, because with every mistake that you made, there's a chance to grow from that mistake. You just have to analyze it. With every single thing that happens to you that could be a tragedy, a loss of a loved one, that takes you away from who you are, you have to learn from that. What did that person bring into your life that made you better, as opposed to looking at it as a total negative situation? I can tell you that because when my mother passed away, I was a kid. I was 23 years old. And I was a mess for a very long time. I didn't want to play drums. I didn't want to do anything at all. But then somewhere in that moment, I realized that she worked really hard to raise her family. And I need to honor her as opposed to go in a different direction and take it out on myself and everyone around me. And it caused me to grow and want to pass that message forward to other people, that sometimes tough situations, I don't care if you don't have all the time in the world to drum. When you do have a chance to do it to the best of your ability. Ask a lot of questions to the drummers around you. There's access on social media where you could just type in a question. The thing that I love about Drum Dog is Drum Dog gets to the core of what makes a drummer a drummer. There's not a whole lot of flash and backflips, but it gets to where you need to be. So when the choice was made, when I was doing different interviews and things, and I found out about Drum Dog, I thought this was the best place for drummers that are really trying to excel their careers, trying to move forward. In my opinion, for a kid like me who came out of public housing, I didn't have my first drum set until I was 18 years old, my own drums. And I did my first professional gig at 19 because I chose to get out of my own way. And what I found at Drum Dog is Drum Dog teaches you how to get out of your own way. Just giving you the technique, giving you the straight, no filter, this is how it's going to get done. And if you're trying to really motivate yourself to get to another level, I think Drum Dog is the place to be. It's really a great platform, and that's why I decided to come here. If you want to be a drummer, whether you want to be a weekend warrior or you want to get out and you want to do tours, it's all about the information that you put in to yourself and that you use to your benefit. Very important. Get out of your own way. Drum Dog will help you to get out of your own way. I'm not just saying that, I'm telling you that because it's true. Other websites have some great stuff going on, don't get me wrong. But I didn't want to deal with all of the flash and pomp and circumstance. I wanted to get to the core of what I needed. And the Drum Dog gives you the who, the what, the how, and why it's done. So remember that. This is a great career to have. Being a musician, being a drummer is a great career to have. Anyone can do it. Doesn't matter. All of the greats that you see out there, they just put in the time and they got out of their own way. That's the big one. Eliminate the word can't from your vocabulary. Everything is possible. You might say can't, but you can also say, I can't right now. I could do it. I'll do it. But right now I'm having some trouble with it. Work on it. Practice hard. Ask a lot of questions. Access Drum Dog. See what's going on there. And I promise you the information that is on the platform will 100% help you out. And you can ask questions all the time and you'll get those answers that you need. So for someone who's had a career in the business going on 48 years and who's come out of a household that didn't have a whole lot of money, and I didn't have my first drum set, I've worked with hundreds of artists, and that's because I really wanted it. I got out of my own way. So I'm trying to tell you, it's important to understand who you are and come to terms with how great you can be. But it all starts with one step and then another step after that. And this is coming from a guy who did it. So I'm only telling you from my truth. So please understand that. Check out Drum Dog, drum.dog. It's right here. It's so cool. I loved it so much I became a part of the company. So that's it. Take care.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked the video, please do like and subscribe so you don't miss anything. If you want to take your drumming further, head over to drum.dog to see how we can help. Until then, catch you in the next one.